Well, hello guys, welcome back. So, Loki is being a little songbird lately. He is having so much fun lately. Anytime I'm trying to concentrate on anything, I hear this little voice. He has picked up and is able to mimic the voice I do for him perfectly. He used to have a perfectly normal, godly voice. And I'm hearing back here, I love your smile. Dee, 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 dee. So, I'm trying to watch NDE and that keeps coming up. And, I'd had a dream this morning and I thought it was so spiritual. I'm standing on this red sandstone mesa, like a deep red color, and off in the distance are these huge, I've heard of them called cooking pots. I don't know if that's the term for it. Volcanoes where the rim looks like it would be very, very small. So you can like see into it like from up where I was. And they're huge and they're all full with magma and it's exploding up into the air. And there's just tons of these, right? And there are these figures dancing around them, their head down, then their head up. And I'm getting I probably should pause, but something Donner. And I'm hearing this oh, oh like oh Nessa or oh something Donner. It's over on Patreon. I'm already losing the details. That's why I write this stuff down sometimes for some time in the morning. And I'm repeating it to myself, Donner, the whatever when I get up, and I'm trying to figure out what this means. And I hear behind me, oh, Donna, oh, Donna. And I turn around, I look at him, I go, was that you? And, he had wanted me to talk about Loki and volcanoes, even though with most things Loki, the only way you can connect them to something is if you take the lore and you shake it and you turn it upside down, you look at it sideways, and you go, yeah, there you go. Lokean volcanoes makes total sense. That is how you have to interpret everything as a Lokean. There's not, you can't go into the lore and there's this distinct line of, yes, Loki, volcano, something, something. And that's the hard thing of being a Lokean because Loki will agree with any damn fool theory you come up with. So a lot of us have speculated he's a god of blacksmithing, but we don't know because of the story with the drawers. And there's this hearth, bellows guard, and yeah, therefore Loki, therefore Loki should be what most of us say. We really can't prove it. We really can't prove hot springs or volcanoes or anything have anything to do with Loki. Really, just one thing somewhere about him using fire magic, but no, he's associated with fire. We've seen him do stuff with fire. And it's you don't have the proof, but it was Loki having fun because he wanted to mention because all those um, volcanoes. I think it's Gilding Dollar. I'm getting the word valley wrong. I'm sorry. My brain isn't here, and I have trouble with languages to begin with. But all those volcanoes that are going off, he wanted included in that. He wanted included in the volcano activity. He's at least associated, we know, with earthquakes from the binding, which we don't like to talk about on this channel. So Lokeans go get stuck there in their sackcloth and ashes, Lokeans. I don't believe in that. I go by the fact that he's active in our lives and he certainly has enough energy to influence things in our lives, and he's certainly free enough to run around. And as I'm doing this research this morning and yesterday and everything, I'm getting the Loki volcano that's on, I think, Io, one of the moons of Jupiter or something, but it's up there and it's active. I don't know. And I'm getting that, all this other stuff. And then they came up, I don't know why, these Disney horns came up. If you go to the Disney parks or you go to the Disney store and you want to part with a good portion of your wallet, you can get Loki horns. They're Mickey Mouse ears and they have Loki horns on them. They're available to buy. And Loki goes, "Get those!" And I said, "No, Loki, you should have talked to your brother about this butterfly saga. I don't regret it. I think they look beautiful." But I said, "You should have talked to your brother." And I tried to mention to you guys, are you guys sure nobody else wants anything before we go into this? No, nobody wanted anything. Now, of course, he saw that and he's been singing the burger song. I said, "No burger." When we got butterfly, we knew we were, this latest round of butterflies. I said, "Didn't we have this discussion? No pizza, no burger, no anything?" So, welcome to working with Loki. There's no vodka in here, but it would help. He's a little kid. I might take him for a burger. Anyways, even though his brother was having one of those weird things last night, didn't want me to leave the house today. It wasn't Odin having foresight. Odin just gets the Odin crazy some days, and it's like he misfires and he predicts something and it never comes to pass, and you just kind of look at him. And it's I think sometimes he misfires on purpose. I think sometimes it's a trickster game to amuse himself to see what he can get you to do. And I think sometimes if, the humans that actually like the old man, just a little aside for him, and will work with him are relatively small. So he tends to be overprotective of us. Tends to be overprotective, especially of females. Yes. Welcome to sexism. And you're tiny, delicate. You might have a savage temper and yell at him all the time, but you're tiny and delicate, must be protected. Welcome to dealing with the old man. Loki's just as bad. Loki and his brother now are opposing forces today. Odin kind of wants to have me stay in the wolf den and shelter me. And Loki's like, "No, burger!" So, Loki's probably going to win because Odin's been winning with all the butterflies. And butterflies, Loki. Somebody was telling me about something green butterfly for Loki, and we have the green butterflies up in the background. We have a lot of green and gold stuff. A lot of people don't like that they're Lokeans because they hate Marvel Loki with a passion. And I get why they do. I get why they do because usually the first thing you do when you start studying a god is you put away all fictional stuff and you try to study it. But we have precious little in the lore about Loki. And there are a lot of words in Old Norse that we just don't know what they mean anymore, and we speculate. We can't even prove what his name means. We speculate, but we can't prove for certain. Same thing with Odin, same thing with a lot of them. We can speculate, we can think we're fairly accurate, but we don't know, and we don't even know if it mattered to our ancestors. But, Loki in the here and now is all that in the bag of chips. He's something else. And, I don't get the idea that he cares one way or the other. I think in a lot of ways he's flattered at the Disney attention because Disney now owns Marvel, so it's more like a Disney thing. And you can see the products shifting over to Disney style products now that they own Marvel. A lot of plush toys, a lot of those headbands, a lot of Disney-fied silliness. You're going to see more and more and more of that. They're going to ride this pony until this pony falls over. And I got, yep. And, expect Loki treats at the park. The more Loki stuff sells, the more Loki stuff they will have. If Loki becomes more popular than Thor and all the other pieces of that property, they will have more and more Loki stuff in the parks, more and more Loki stuff in your local Disney store. If you like it as a Lokean and it doesn't bother you, go for it because I get the idea it's going to be one of those jump the shark things. Like sometimes they have a store, like all the stuff in the store for say the Lion King, and then it's like gone for 8 years and then it comes back briefly. So whatever it is that you see, if you have the money for it and he wants it, because he was whining at me for those horns and they have, and I'm like, no, dude, too much money. And it wasn't I actually want that. He has green and gold balloons floating around here somewhere. I indulge him with the Marvel stuff every so often. Sometimes he finds it flattering, sometimes he's like, and it insults him. So, take your pick. Take your pick with Loki. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it is a thing that when people come up to us, we do try to at least wean people off. Not that you can't have it, but that you realize that yes, this is a Norse god. No, he doesn't look like Tom Hiddleston. He can because he's a shapeshifter. He can appear as anything he wants. But, you know, at least your due diligence to your god is to at least go listen to the lore. If you can't be bothered to read it, or, maybe you can't read, and, you can hopefully learn at some point. I used to teach reading, so it's important to me. Um, maybe you don't want to read the lore, so you go and you at least watch a video or something, and hopefully they stay close to the lore. You should at least know your god's lore. You don't have to look at it ever again, but at least know it and know what the ancient look on them was. And it usually has absolutely nothing to do with your day-to-day life, you know? But a lot of the things will make sense, like flies will start to make sense to you. Butterflies, I can't even. I don't even know if I finished that green butterfly story, but I saw art of Loki and I didn't even bother clicking it, but it was Loki, kind of Norse Loki, but kind of steampunk looking, so I assumed it was some kind of thing for kids that I don't even know about and don't need to. And there were butterflies on them. Some people give butterflies to Segan, some people give butterflies to Loki. The old man's been after me for butterflies, and now all the Norse gods seem interested in them, so you can certainly use whatever you want. Cliff Notes version, you can use absolutely anything with any god, as long as they like it. It's not. Rimfrost came up. The Norse did not see the gods as god of X. Like they use Thor for an example, Thor in war, Thor in fertility and stuff, sure, but not Thor, god of thunder, which is very dear to most of us who work with him in the modern times. We're like, what do you mean, Thor's not the god of thunder? I'm gonna come over there and hit you. Same thing with Odin, not chief of the gods per se, even though Odin's people would like to throw down at that. And maybe the other gods were like, you're not the boss of me. And not the de facto god of war, more the god of wisdom, more the wanderer, more this, more that, more the god of magic than anything else. And I'm like, well, you're just kind of shifting around words here. He's not the god of war, he's the god of magic. You just still made him the god of something. That's welcome to working with pagans, you know? And same thing for Loki. He can be the god of whatever he wants to be. Any god can do anything. It's just, as Loki is explained and Odin and Thor have explained too, they all seem to work different with us. Whether it's our belief blocking them or helping them. Some seem to be able to do healings for us sometimes. Some don't seem to be able to. Even if they're noted for it, sometimes they're trying, and nothing's happening. And sometimes some god, not even known for healing, comes over and goes, boop, and something happens, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's part of our path to go off and learn what we can do to heal ourselves, and it's like that. So a god can be noted for something, and it's just not going to work for you, or they're not noted for it, and it's coming up for you. They're very multifaceted. They're very multifaceted. So you might be getting a part of Loki no one else is getting. Just learn to present it in a way that this is what I'm experiencing. Don't present it in a way as a weapon, like I experience this, therefore it invalidates what you experience, because we all have distinctly different versions of Loki that we all work with. My version is kind of like a pesky kid brother sometimes. Sometimes he's this lord. Sometimes he's packing his bag and he's going to leave because I don't have a sense of humor. And, it's Loki. So if you guys like what you see, I'm sure I missed like 3/4 of my material in there, but I had the fun of recording this already and the camera didn't work. So yeah. So Loki's been helping. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye bye.